just feel free to have insight. That works too. Yeah, just let's discuss how this kind of went down. So pause the music. There's like, I don't know, I didn't have any sound here, but maybe I'll add sound later. All right, so let's just go through it. All right, guys. So the first fight, as you probably remember, it was me against a ranger, and yeah, he's in stealth at this point. I did the full counter because I just wanted to. I knew he was good enough that at this point he probably wouldn't have hit the full counter, but it saved me some time from having to use any of my other abilities. And my overall goal at this point was to stall long enough that he would come out of stealth by the time my full counter was over. So that's why I did it. So continue. I did a shield block right after because I still didn't know where he was until I turned around. At this point, I see him as I did an about face, and my camera did pan over to him. And at the same time, what I'm noticing is his pet is doing its F2 skill, or what have you call it? F2 is like the default skill of the pet. Now with the smoke scale, if you ever fought rangers, it's going to have a smoke field. And why rangers like to use this a lot is because it can provide them some stealth if they do a leap finisher. I'll probably go over like leap finishers later on in like another video. But that's what I noticed that is happening here. Now, I've actually fought this ranger. This is like, I don't know, like the 5th fight. I picked really the best one out of all of our fights together. So I already, just from our previous fights, I knew what was going to happen. But, you know, at the same time, it's just a best practice for rangers to use the smoke field whenever they're trying to get stealth. So he's in longbow. I'm trying to close the distance. Now here, I stop and I see he's in greatsword. And I don't know, I just anticipated it, right? I wanted to interrupt him because I felt that in this frame or so, he was more than likely going to try to rush into the smoke field, which ended up happening, right? I shield 5, or shield 4, I'm sorry. And as I shield 4, I catch him before the evade frame of the greatsword leap, which interrupts him. Swap to greatsword. Now, if you notice, I stowed it, and the reason I stowed it was because I also expected like a stun break on his end. I didn't know what his stun breaks were, so I stowed it because I didn't want to waste my adrenaline. That just happens, right? You're going to anticipate things that are either not going to happen. It's a gamble, effectively. So I lost this gamble, right? But I didn't lose the adrenaline, so it is what it is. I could have worked. Now he's blocking. I see that. I try to full counter it. Dodge some of his other skills. Now at that point there, he taunted me. And what I ended up doing is I stun break the taunt with the... what's up, y'all? I end up stun breaking the taunt with the stomp ability that I have. He still has 6 stacks of stability because he did use his Doliac stance. Really cool bear animation. I like that. So he's got that. I just play the music. Yeah. Where was I? All right. So right here, I get taunted. You can see like a little glowy thing coming around. As that happens, I use the stomp. Right. Stun break. He has the stability. And the stability prevents me from stunning him. I was like 1 second short. As you see, the stability is gone completely now. At this point, I heal, and I was lucky that he missed the kick. That's why I kind of walked away. Because earlier in the fight, if you noticed, I hit the block here, right? I hit it by throwing my greatsword at him. So it ended up hitting it. So I knew this is also the animation that you see up top, that you know when they have it. And so I knew he still had it, right? He ended up missing that kick right here, right? So he missed it. I was able to get my heal off, and I dodged real preemptively. At this point, I'm dodging because I was afraid that he would do something. He's very bursty, and after using my heal, the last thing I want to do is get all my health taken away. So he evades, as you see there, and as I catch him in the evade frame, my greatsword, I ended up weapon swapping. So instantly I wait till the evade frame's up, and I think I wait for a dodge roll. Nope, I don't. Anyways, I catch him with the arcing slice, which is going to proc the mage bane tether. I think this is the first time in the fight that I've procced it. So what my goal is at this point is to really capitalize on that. This is the first time I landed it, and it's really big because it's going to give me more might application, which is going to heal me. It's also going to prevent him from stealthing, and it's going to keep him within a 1200 range of me, because if he decides to move past that, he's going to end up getting pulled, which either is going to force me to use a stun break, or he's going to have to preemptively use like a stability, which I'm not sure he had at this point because he already used it earlier, which is a Doliac stance. So I rampage. It's just always a good cause to rampage when you have Mage Bane. You keep him close, or you pull him so you can bring him close, right? He ends up healing, which is really good that I did rampage, because what you notice is when he healed, he had a shocking aura. And the shocking aura was going to prevent me from being able to land any damage abilities on him. So it was really good of me to rampage. That pretty much nullified that. I try to throw the rock, end up landing it, stomping. So this is where I go into like a full CC chain and hit him with the arcing slice. Now I know there's two things that could happen here, right? Yeah, Sweaty Ranger. Two things that could really happen here, right? I landed a really nice arcing slice. It didn't proc the Mage Bane tether because it does have an internal cooldown. And so I could go all out, right? It's like when you watch UFC fighters or anything like that. When you have someone dazed, there's two ways that people react, right? You either just go in for the kill, you just like swing everything at them in hopes that they would get knocked out. And in some cases it works, but in other cases you could end up fatiguing yourself, or in Guild Wars 2 run out of cooldowns and getting yourself killed because you don't have anything. So I kind of waited out a little bit. I do use my Greatsword 3, and that was able to kill him. So that was how that fight went. That was my progress, my mindset behind that one. This one was a little bit different because I did catch it halfway through. Main points in the fight though is the Berserker Warrior, as you can see, has 100% health and I have 0. The reason this is because Berserker Warriors are pretty strong right now, and he has Defiant Stance up, which is like a heal that if I'm attacking him during that heal, it's going to heal him instead of damaging him. So he has a lot of burst, right? This build has a lot of burst. Like everything just does passive damage, burst damage, whatever. So I have to be very careful just being around him because he can outtrade me being a Berserker. But I'm just a Spellbreaker. So I'm gonna get a drink. Any questions? If not, I'll keep going. All right, so I try to peel away from him at first because I have my heal up, but I also don't want to get killed before I can use it. So I full counter. The reason I full counter before I heal is because the full counter is going to actually allow me to evade any sort of attack that he's going to do. I have the ability to stun him if need be, and the stun is going to, it's like a half-second stun or a second stun. Provides me enough time to get stability, as you see on my bar here down below. But it also will give me time to get my heal off. Generally, as a warrior practice, what I try to do is I try to get a full counter off or a stomp before I pop a heal, because it just allows me that like window of time to be able to use it without getting stunned or killed. So here I use it, right? And this is a bad move on any ranger's or any warrior's part, no matter who you are. I don't care. If you are doing a bull's charge, which is this skill here, if you're using bull's charge from like, I don't know, China, and trying to hit another class, if you're fighting somebody who's actually experienced at the game, then they're gonna dodge it. Like unless you caught them without any dodges, they're gonna dodge it. Like, so it's a waste of a cooldown in my opinion. You shouldn't waste it like this. Never waste. As you see, I dodge it, right? Pretty easy to dodge. Now I end up reverse using it as I am close to him, and pretty much the reason why is because I don't know, I wanted him to dodge. I just used it. I chanced it, right? I ended up hitting him because he was moving into me at the same time, and I used that opportunity to do an arcing slice. Now instantly he goes into Berserker stance, which hits me for 3k. Just him going into Berserker stance, he has stability. Any amount of damage that he does is going to hurt like hell. So he lands one of the F1 skills on Berserker, Arc Divider or whatever, and it really hurts. Yeah. So at this point in time, go back a little bit, dodge that, I end up hitting him with it. He uses that, boom, hits me with one. So at this point, my full counter is on cooldown. I use my block because I just don't want to get killed. My heal's on cooldown. I need to use my block. So he does his Greatsword 3. A good tactic to do as a warrior, if you're doing warrior duels, is whenever a warrior uses their Greatsword 3, aka Blade Trail, or yeah, wait till the last frame, which is right there, and then use your full counter, because they don't have any more evade frames after this, and they probably won't be expecting to be hit with a full counter like he just did. Fat 312 damage full counter, right? But it provided me enough time to land a shield block or shield bash. Now he has endure pain, I could tell because I did 0 damage, and I peel away, avoiding the axe throw. That axe throw would have killed me, by the way. It just does so much damage. So I was able to avoid that. I know it's an ammo skill, he might have one more. So I'm keep walking. As you see, there's a second one right there, and I use my stomp. Now that really could have killed me, honestly, but I had no choice other than to use my stomp, leading into him, and thankfully it hit. I don't think he was expecting it, which gave me enough time to use my heal. As you see, heal is completely used at this point, and he's barely getting up from that. I arcing slice him. I see him going for a blade trail again. I try to dodge. I dodge one of them. Third one actually hurt. And this is where I start kind of counting his dodges. I'm getting real sweaty at this point. We're right next to each other, and I do a combo, right? The combo is going to be dagger 3, and it's going to be bull's rush or shield block, and then it's going to be F1, right? So, or F1, I'm sorry, bull's rush, and then I use the shield bash, and then I kill him with the arcing slice. So before I get into the next fight, guys, if you like what you see, if you like this kind of insight and content, please let me know. Drop a comment down below and tell me what tactics you use when you're fighting classes. I would definitely love to read some of those. Leave a like as well. It just definitely helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you. So that's how that went. This one, 2v1 situation is going to be a little bit different for you guys. All right, I get pulled by this guy. And the biggest thing that you want to do in like a 2v1 is you want to focus on one class. Focus on the one that you think is the squishiest, the one that has the least amount of ability or skill, really, and separate them as well. Separate all the classes. You don't want to be fighting two at once at the same time. So like movement is really important when you're doing, 2v1s outnumbered fights. So I go for this guy, right? I go for the DH because I just don't think the DH is good at all. I noticed that the Mesmer is backing off a little bit. So this was luck. I didn't think he was going to heal at this point. I ended up pulling him, retargeting him, and we kill him. Because I broke his Aegis with the rush. I knew he didn't have any more Aegis, so we kill him. And so I end up stomping him. We go into this fight, which is the Mesmer. Now this one is a little bit more difficult, and like I said, halfway through, Mesmers in WvW generally outtrade Spellbreakers just in damage application. What I mean by that is, like, look, you could see I did a full counter already, right? Which is supposed to provide me a 3/4 second evade frame. But at the same time, I'm getting Torment, Bleeding, and Confusion stacked in the middle of my animation. So it's very hard as a Spellbreaker to not take any damage when you're fighting a Mesmer in World versus World, and it's really easy for a Mesmer to disengage, engage, just hit you with kind of cheese mechanics. So just armor in World v World is worse. Like, he's running full Trailblazer armor, so he has toughness, vitality. His conditions have really long duration, and they have really high damage. So it just should be a losing matchup, really. I rampage because I have no other cooldowns, and I think it's going to relieve some pressure, which it does. He ends up porting away. He ends up stunning me there, and as you see, he's already running away. I'm just stacked full of condis. Like, realistically, I'm just getting condi bombed left and right. I have no more cooldowns except for a full charge. And thankfully, I land the F1 on him, which doesn't allow him to stealth. So I try to run away a little bit. Now, here's important. I have my heal and I also have one shake it off. And you'll notice that I use my shake it off because I just don't think that the torment's ticking on me. I stop moving for a second, right? It's doing 290 damage a tick on me. So within 5 seconds or so, like probably 3 seconds, I will die. And so I end up using my shake it off before I use my heal because I don't want to take any more damage from those conditions that would probably have killed me before I got this heal off, right? Bad full counter doesn't do anything. He knows this, so he peels away again. Once again, I'm out of everything. But one thing I noticed is he has his heal signaled up, and he is also really low. So at this point, I am guessing in my head, right? The one thing that I'm thinking of is that, okay, he is going to die if I hit him and interrupt his heal. Like he's gonna die. If I interrupt his heal, he's dead. That's my only objective at this point. I don't care about anything else, so I follow him, right? Now you see this signet. This is important, guys. You see the signet over his head. And that means that he's going in for the heal. Yeah, the Pyromancer Sigil. So you see it going over his head. Now that's generally going to tell me if he's healing, right? It's like a big tail. And boom, interrupt him instantly before he can get that off, right? So then I don't know if he panicked. I don't know what the hell he did. I mean, he got interrupted. He only has one dodge, so maybe he was out of cooldowns as well. He allows me to do another one of these combos with the F1, the shield 5, the 2, and then swap to Greatsword and Arc Slice. This is a 3v1. Now, this one's a little bit cheese. I will not lie to you because I think one of these guys wasn't even level 80, but it just made good for a montage because it was 3v1. Right? As you see, I'm kind of trying to stay close to 1. And avoid really the others. So I do a stomp, knock one back, right? Now I notice that the Necro here is going to be probably the easiest target for me. So I end up focusing him first, and he just does nothing. He absolutely just eats all this, right? So I end up hitting him, as you see there, with like a 10,000 damage arcing slice, and it instantly kills him. He like just instant dies. So I'm like, okay, this guy wasn't even level 80, whatever. And then I rampage just to, try to close out this win for me. There's 2 rangers. They have longbows. I don't want to be knocked back. Like that just tilts the shit out of me when I get knocked back, especially if it happens twice. So it's just relatively easy for me. I just kill this guy first, and the other guy's in the back. I don't know what he's really doing. He's just auto attacking me. So I ended up just going in for this guy next, and I leave the other one in downstate. So as you see, you put a trap down there, right? And when you see like a ranger look like he's picking up sand, you just don't walk towards him because this thing has like a delay. And as you see right there, like he's like reaching over to the ground. That's one of those things where if you come close, you should just dodge, because if you get hit by that, it generally knocks you back, right? So as you see there, I didn't because I'm dumb. Honestly, I thought the Bull's Charge was going to remove it. So I ended up getting hit by that, but thankfully, I have no idea why I won that. Anyways, but that's what happened. Next one here. So as I told you earlier in the segment, right? Bad warriors generally will freaking do a Bull Charge from literally 1200 range away. So he blade trails me, and I don't even see him until like the last 500 range, right? My focus is the Necro because I love killing Necros first. They just have lack of mobility. They're easier to kill. You can lock them down a lot quicker. So as I see here, right? This guy is coming from God knows where, literally the other side of town, to try to hit me with this Bull's Charge, and ended up dodging it. He has a agility sigil. He tries to 100 blades me. By the way, never 100 blades. Pro tip as a warrior there. And walks down to the bottom. So he's already kind of just like, whatever. I'm not paying attention to him as much. I get pulled by the Necro, which is kind of good because I'm able to just knock him back with a stomp. I'm still, at this point, like, I end up switching my focus again. Now that was unfortunate right there because I wanted to get the warrior at this point since he had been pulled, but I ended up getting blinded by the Necro, so my arcing slice didn't land. So what do? I go back, I end up, staying on the warrior for a minute. But eventually, my overall goal is to switch to the Necro, right? Because Necros are a lot squishy, especially Reapers. So I Rampage. I just want to knock the Warrior down, and then I come here. The Reaper, he got hit by the Arcing Slice. So what do? Gets hit by that. He ends up trying to heal right here. I end up interrupting it because, as you see in their heals, they do some sort of like lift up thing, and they have like a little aura around them, right? Do it again. He gets hit there. Now walk in right there. You see he's got a little blue aura comes in. You interrupt it. And at this point, like the overall goal is Reapers aren't tanky anymore. It depends on the armor that they're using, Roz. World v World is really focused on the armor set, but I would generally say no, they're not that tanky. Because as you see, I just do a weapon swap, dodge roll, 3k HP gone, and he gets hit by almost 10,000. 9,000 actually on this Arcing Slice, which kills him. So yeah, I focus the Reaper. Now the goal is to kill the Warrior. Also a big thing too here is make sure that the Warrior can't get the res off. So save any sort of stuns that you have, if you have any, on resing, right? So I interrupt the res there. Now I know he's going to try to arc slice me. So I block it. At this point, one thing I do when a Warrior does an Arcing Slice on me and I avoid it, I instantly go right into one. Generally because at the last frame, if they complete it, they can't really move. Or they can, but most don't. I don't know why. Anyways, he's almost dead. I end up getting it again because if they hit your full counter, it resets your F1. So I kill him with a second Arcing Slice. And then, now this is important, guys, at this point. If you have 2 enemies down and you're in this situation like I am, it's okay to kind of run away a little bit so you can reset your cooldowns. Like they're dead, right? You don't need to worry about them anymore. So run away a little bit, reset your cooldown so you can come back in and finish the kills. This guy, I mean, I ran away so much this guy was able to actually get vengeance off, and so there you go. I think we're almost through this. This fight, another 2v1. This one I actually enjoyed because this one I didn't see the Ellie. Scourge is almost dead, but ideally I would want to go for the staff Ellie. I just from experience, if someone's playing staff Ellie, they're going to be relatively squishy. So I end up trying to go for him, but I notice he's kiting me, so I'm targeted here. The Reaper is actually doing a really good, or Scourge is doing a really good job at locking me down here. So I have to focus on the Scourge here, right? Because the Scourge is locking me down. If I'm being pressured by one class more than another, no matter what my initial thought was, I have to switch and go for the one that is causing me the most problems. Now, here's what I mean by like, you separate them a little bit, right? I'm trying to have some movement. This is what one skill that you can learn if you practice it enough, and it's called like a skill retarget. It's kind of like you fake a body shot to go for a leg kick. I don't know how else to call it. But what you see here, right, is, I'm going to slow it down a little bit because it can get kind of confusing. So I have a Bull's Charge and I have skill retargeting on. And what I do is I target the Necro, as you can tell from above, and I hit my Bull's Charge. At the same time, I swap to a second target. So what that does is that kind of fakes a movement as if like you're zigzagging, and it doesn't really allow somebody to react fast enough if they see you do that, because their eyes are already first initially see you going one direction. So if you end up coming back into their direction, then they have to process the change in direction. So as you see right there, right, I used it. I used the skill. As you can see, it has been used, and I have the Necro targeted. Now I instantly swap to, okay, it's all buggy. I'll play it in full time so you can see, but I swapped to the Ellie, and that made it kind of like move back and forth here, right? Like that, right? So you saw me move into him, and I was able to get the stun off of him from a further range than I normally could. Now I use Stomp here, right? He has a static field around me. if I hit the edges of the static field, I will be stunned. So I stomped through it so I could get the stability and just break through. You see, stability is already gone because I had to do it to break through. I use my heal and I just chase. I go for the chase because I know there he's dead, right? I rampage, try to get a rampage stomp. I know he's going to miss form. And then so at this point I swap to the Scourge, get him in some lockdown combo. And then I go into, once I throw the rock, I cancel the rampage to go in for a arcing slice, which does land. And don't stand in all this disgustingness. If you don't have to, I have a shake it off, so it's fine. I knew I was gonna get the kill. It was worth the pain because I wanted to get the kill. This one is the final clip here, right? So it is a little bit more of a difficult fight when you're fighting something that has like 1500 range, like a Deadeye. The Deadeye is porting and he's shooting me, and there's another Reaper. So initially I want to go for the Deadeye, right? But I also have to keep my eye on the Necro because he is being super aggressive and pushing me. So I end up seeing this Necro animation, which is like where he raises the Reaper or the scythe above his head to slam it down. That would have stunned me if I let it, right? So he moves into me, he tries to fear me, and you want to know how I know he tries to fear me? If you see this icon right here, that means that they're trying to fear you. Now I don't know why. I think it's just human tendency that people do the same things no matter who they are. But for whatever reason, most people who use this skill try to combo with the 5 skill on Reaper, which is a stun. So I see this, right? I see this, and I see that he's doing that skill, so I do my full counter. He lands it, but my full counter stopped me from getting stunned and actually did some damage on him. I rampage here because I just want to close the distance on this Deadeye. I don't like that he's shooting me no matter what, because it just hurts. Lucky enough, right? I don't know what the hell I was lucky enough to do, but I got this full counter landed. And I knew that the Deadeye was around me. So I was like, okay, it's going to reveal him soon because the Mage Bane Tether, as we spoke about in the first clip, removes anybody from stealth. So there he is, right? At this point, I know he just doesn't have any way of escaping. So my goal is to just kill him. Like, he wasted all his cooldowns already. I just want him dead. So I'm just doing anything I can at this point. Now, as you see again, the fear from the top, I use my block to block the fear. And I'm still pushing this Deadeye, right? Because I want him dead. So as you see there, I did a cool little quick combo, which was hit him with the 3 and then weapon swap, which proc my sigil. So right here, boom, 3. Weapon swap, and then I hit him with the arcing slice. Now this is also important here, which is like called zoning. The Necro uses fear ring around me, and so what most people tend to do is they panic and they try to dodge, which would actually have probably killed me if I had dodged, because if I have no cooldowns. If I move into that fear ring, I lose the potential to kill this Deadeye, and 2, the Necro can go into Reaper form and just fuck up my day, right? So I just do auto attacks very calmly, very casually, just hit him with some auto attacks. I know that the fear ring's out in a little bit, so I carefully dodge and still staying within that fear ring, right? And then as I see it disappearing, I do a blade trail, which is a 3 skill. And at this point, the Necro goes into Lich form. I'm still kind of like screwed. He pushed me, I would have died. Like, I was like, oh, this is gonna be a bad clip, like I'm gonna get screwed, whatever. The full counter ends up working in my favor. I just double dodge at this point and just get the hell out of there. Now, for whatever reason, he decided to not push me and go in for the res, which was his bad, because now I have my cooldowns back, right? I literally try to do anything to stop him from getting the res. And as you see there, because he did the Nightfall, it pulls damage, which allowed me to get a full counter off on him. I got my arcing slice and I went for the heal. So at this point, I'm just walking away because I want the Mage Bane Tether to pull him. And it does. The pull is important because it stops him from rezzing. Now I have 1 attack left. I know he hasn't used his heal yet. I know because I haven't caused him to use his heal yet. So I'm just doing damage and saving my Bull's Rush until I see the heal animation, which you see it there again. You see those blue little aura around him, and instantly I go in for the bull charge, and voila, we get the kill. So that's pretty much how you win we'll make a montage. And that was my mindset throughout all of these fights. So yeah, just pay attention to where you are and stick to one target. Always be dynamic in these fights as well, right? So if like one target is causing you more problems than another, go for that one. But if you also notice that somebody is just standing there and not knowing how to play the game effectively, you know, switch your target. Like, don't be afraid to also move around the map, like kite a little bit, keep yourself out of range from the, I guess, the enemies that have, like, if you're fighting melee and range, right, close the distance on the range while also staying out of the distance of the melee, and then vice versa. Do things like that is going to keep you from being attacked by both people at once, because I promise you, if I was honestly attacked by two of these people at once, if they coordinated I would have died. Like, there's just nobody that's good enough, at least on warrior, because of the pathing, that can handle two really good players that are coordinating their attacks on him. You know, I like to say I'm pretty good, but I'm just not that good. So very nice comments here. Thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna upload this on YouTube as well, so you guys will have the access of that after I do some edits on it. But hope you guys enjoyed the commentary, and now we'll get into a little bit of some PvP gameplay.